Guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do my wrap up of days 16 to 20 from the Read So Lit photo challenge that I'm hosting over on IG. So it is going very well. We're getting towards the end of the month, but it's still getting really good. People are suggesting great books. It's been a really, really nice photo challenge this month. So let's get started. Day 16, the prompt was book quote or quotes. So I went with Invisible Man and I did a little reel where I read the first paragraph from Invisible Man. So it goes like this. Prologue. I am an invisible man. No, I am not a spook like those who haunted Edgar Allan Poe, nor am I one of your Hollywood movie ectoplasms. I am a man of substance, of flesh and bone, fiber and liquids, and I might even be said to possess a mind. I'm invisible, understand, simply because people refuse to see me. Like the bodiless heads you see sometimes in circus sideshows, it is as though I have been surrounded by mirrors of hard, distorting glass. When they approach me, they see only my surroundings, themselves or figments of their imagination. Indeed, everything and anything except me. So, yeah, I had to read that quote. It's such a powerful start to this very powerful book, Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. The next prompt was mysteries. So for me, I don't read a ton of mysteries, but you already know that I'm following the Easy Rawlins series to talk about it quite a bit. But I thought I would talk about somebody else, and that is Attica Locke. And she's done a bunch of books. I have read all of them except for one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this one right here, which is Blackwater Rising. This is written in a very different way than we're used to consuming mysteries. And it goes like this, because it's a series, but there's only 2 books in the series for the moment. I don't know if she will come out with more, but it says, Jay Porter is hardly the lawyer he set out to be. His most promising client is a low-rent call girl, and he runs his fledgling law practice out of a dingy strip mall. But he's long since made peace with not living the American dream and carefully tucked away his darkest sins, the guns, the FBI file, the trial that nearly destroyed him. Houston, Texas, 1981. It is here that Jay believes he can make a fresh start. That is until the night in a boat out on the bayou when he impulsively saves a woman from drowning and opens a Pandora's box. Her secrets put Jay in danger, ensnaring him in a murder investigation that could cost him his practice, his family, and even his life. But before he can get to the bottom of a tangled mystery that reaches into the upper echelons of Houston's corporate power brokers, Jay must confront the demons of his past. Okay, so this was the first book that I read, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The beginning of this is so well written. It's like spooky and just, it has you on edge. It's really good. I highly recommend this one. The second one, which I have not read in this duology for the moment, is Pleasantville. So it continues on with Jay Porter, and it's a very specific, interesting novel as well. Hopefully I will get to it at some point because I really do love Attica Locke. Now, the second one I read from her, no, actually this was the first one. I read this one first, The Cutting Season, and then I read Blackwater Rising. This one also has a lot of atmosphere, spooky. It takes place on a plantation in Louisiana. And this is what it says. Karen manages Bellevue, a sprawling antebellum plantation that sits between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, where the past and the present coexist uneasily. The estate's owners have turned the place into an eerie tourist attraction, complete with full-dress reenactments and carefully restored slave quarters. Outside the gates, a corporation with ambitious plans has been busy snapping up land from struggling families who have been growing sugarcane for generations and now replacing local employees with illegal laborers. Tensions mount when the body of a female migrant worker is found in a shallow grave on the edge of the property, her throat cut clean. Get this one, people. This one is so good. Oh my God, this book was so good. The next one from Attica Locke are these two right here, which are from the same series called Highway 59. And this one, I think she's doing a third book, but it hasn't come out yet, sadly. But the first one is Bluebird. And the next one is Heaven My Home. So it says, Southern fables usually go the other way around. A white woman is killed or harmed in some way, real or imagined, and then, like the moon follows the sun, a black man ends up dead. But when it comes to law and order, East Texas plays its own rules. A fact that Darren Matthews, a black Texas Ranger, working the backwoods towns of Highway 59, knows all too well. Deeply ambivalent about his home state, he was the first in his family to get as far away from Texas as he could, until duty called him home. So when allegiance to his roots puts his job in jeopardy, he is drawn to a case in the small town of Lark, where 2 dead bodies have washed up in the bayou. First a black lawyer from Chicago, and then 3 days later a local white woman, and it stirred up a hornet's nest of resentment. Darren must solve the crimes and save himself in the process before Lark's long simmering racial fault lines erupt. This one is so freaking good. It's just the story is very complex. The characters are, winding, twisty, turny. They're always doing something that is, it seems predictable, but then after the fact, you realize it's not really that predictable. It's just really, really interesting. And he got a mama. Oh my God. His mama though. Okay. I'm not going to go any further with that one, but this is the second one. And this one is even crazier and complex. The storyline with the same guy, the Black Texas Ranger. Very, very good series. I wish she would come on with book 3, because by the time she gets to book 3, I might have to reread the whole thing again. Okay, so day 18, of course, February 18th, is Toni Morrison's birthday. So I, of course, posted the first Toni Morrison book that I read, and the one that I have a special place in my heart for, and that is The Bluest Eye. Love, love, love this book. But wait, you got to see what's on the back of this book. Toni with her fro, looking like, she looking like, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me, people. Okay? Toni is looking fierce back here on this back photo. I loved it. This is an old copy. I don't know where I got this copy from. Probably in some old bookshop somewhere in Paris. But I'm going to read a little bit about this book. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye is an inquiry into the reasons why beauty gets wasted in this country. This is a quote from John Leonard. The beauty in this case is black. The wasting is done by a cultural engine that seems to have been designed specifically to murder possibilities. The bluest eye refers to the blue eyes of the blonde American myth, by which standard the black-skinned and brown-eyed always measure up as inadequate. Miss Morrison exposes a negative of the Dick and Jane and mother and father and dog and cat photograph that appears in our reading primers, and she does it with a prose so precise, so faithful to speech, and so charged with pain and wonder that the novel becomes poetry. Ms. Morrison's angry sadness overwhelms. This is by John Leonard from the New York Times. And that pretty much describes the book. Highly recommend this one if you haven't read it, but you got to get your mind right. I'm not going to lie. So day 19 was finished reading, and that happened to be this one right here, Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost, which when I read this one, I just wanted to go off and bake and cook something, but didn't have no time to bake or cook anything elaborate. But you want to when you finish this one. So this is the book that I had finished on the 19th. And this is by Crystal Wilkinson. And I did a interview with her with my podcast buddy, Christy. We did a live with Crystal Wilkinson. You can check out that video over in the live section of my channel. We had a really nice discussion for a little over an hour on this book and all things food, family, and women. And when I finished this book, I felt very nostalgic about it. It says, as the keeper of her family stories and treasured dishes, Crystal Wilkinson shares the inheritance of Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost. She found their stories in her apron pockets, floating inside the steam of hot mustard greens and tucked into the sweet scent of clove and cinnamon in her kitchen. Part memoir, part cookbook, Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost weaves these stories together with recipes, family photos, and a lyrical imagination to present a culinary portrait of a family that has lived and worked the earth of the mountains for over a century. Love this book. This is the one that I finished on the 19th. I highly recommend it. It's so good. Like I said, it would make a wonderful gift for someone who loves to cook and who is interested in learning more about Black appellations. Highly recommend this one. So last but not least, we had day 20, and that prompt was a view. And this is the one that I decided to spotlight, which is Dark Rain, which is by Matt Johnson. Matt Johnson, I don't hear a lot of people talking about Matt Johnson. Here he is right here, Matt Johnson. He's a very interesting Black writer. I discovered Matt Johnson through his graphic novels, through Dark Rain, and through Incognito. But he also has written some books, which I hope to get into at some point. But I picked this one because this is one, it takes place in New Orleans, and it's right after Katrina has blown right past New Orleans and left it pretty much underwater for the most part. And we have the story takes place during that period. And we have two small-time crooks. They plan on robbing a bank at this point when the city is partially underwater. It's interesting. So it says here, New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina crashes into the city. The levees burst, and two small-time ex-cons with big dreams get the idea that now would be the perfect time to rob a bank. Catch is the bank they plan on robbing is in the center of New Orleans, and they're on parole in a Houston halfway house. Now, as every sane person tries to get out of the Big Easy, Emmett Jack and Dabney Arsenault will do whatever it takes to get in. They journey through a tide of human suffering that makes their own troubles seem petty. Dabney wants to help. Emmett sees only the money. But a rogue commander of the ruthless security force, Dark Rain, has its sights set on taking down the same bank. If Emmett and Dabney don't outrace him, their last hope for a second chance could be washed away in the floodwaters along with their lives. So yeah, now this one, I'll show you a little bit what this graphic novel looks like. It's in this kind of gray blue tones throughout the book, but it's very well illustrated. The story is really interesting as well. I really liked it. So that's the last book that I spotlighted for day 20. So that's all I have for you. Look out for days 21 to 25 will be coming in a couple of days. So that's all I have for you today. Comment below if you're interested in any of these, or if you have any comments. Let's talk below, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.